Welcome, everyone, and welcome to Behind the Notes. Today we're sitting down with Natalie Cressman. Thank you for sitting down with me. I'm super excited to chat with you. I know that, you came out with an album in 2024. How was that process for you, and how has it been to be able to kind of play that music live?
Oh, it's been awesome. I mean, the project was kind of a dream come true for both me and my partner, Ian. The music is all by this composer Guinga, or collaborations with Guinga, and he's such an important musical figure in both of our lives. So getting to do this kind of tribute to him, but with him in the studio with us, was just amazing. And it's been really great to play the music live. Unlike the record we did before, like, we recorded everything pretty live takes, full takes. So it was kind of an easy transition to do it live. But I mean, obviously just being able to feel people respond to Guinga's music in the moment is super rewarding, because I feel like he's getting his due somewhat in Brazil, but he's kind of this gem that we're trying to uncover for the American public. And so it's really exciting to turn people on to his music.
I say this all the time, but collaboration is such a fun part of, this, and to be able to just have an idea and it come to life has to be so fulfilling. And I'm so happy that you all got to do that. Is there a certain song on, whether it's this record or really any other music that you've put out, that you are finding yourself really connecting to, that you've been playing either live or even if it's just one that you're you keep to yourself and don't play for other people, that you really connect to right now?
Oh, that's such a good question. Well, there's this one piece from the album that we actually don't do live very much, so I guess it's kind of to speak to something that's more for me, but the song that ended up being a duet between me and Guinga is one of my favorites that Ian wrote during the pandemic, and I was kind of there as he was writing it. And it's this song of longing. In Portuguese there's this word called saudade, which kind of translates to longing, but it's longing for a particular person or place. It's kind of untranslatable, and this song is just imbued with that feeling. And it was when we were all stuck at home, so Ian's longing for Brazil, where he's not able to travel to see his family and all the places that he found inspiring. And Guinga starts writing lyrics, and he has the kind of inverse. He's longing for the Bay Area that he's not able to travel to for his annual trip to come to Brazil camp and play. So it's the lyrics have this very fantastical, almost surreal juxtaposition of Bay Area landmarks and Rio de Janeiro landmarks. And so I just think it's such a personal song. It's just so direct to their personal experience, but the feeling that it evokes is universal. We all have nostalgia for a place or a time, and I think it just captures that so nicely. So that's a special one for me.
That feeling of nostalgia, I think, is one of my favorite parts of one of my favorite things to listen to. I listen to a lot of kind of sad music, I don't know, but that I'm that kind of music, it is just it's so raw and honest, and it's such an important thing to have within something, and for them to be able to draw parallels, but also kind of it be different. It's a very human experience. That's so beautiful.
I think he does that so beautifully in all of his music. It's not that it's sad. A lot of the songs are sad or introspective, but it's not a one note kind of sad. It's a complex sad. There's beauty and brilliance and happiness in the sadness. It's just he's so good at putting us in that space of longing, of sadness, or but it's a complex emotion, just like his music is complex. And I think it's amazing that with all the richness of his harmonic palette, he can get us to that emotional place, because I don't think everyone does that so well, and I think he does it so beautifully.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did you and Ian meet?
So through this Brazil camp, really.
Okay.
Yeah. The funny thing is we met, I guess it was 2016. We met as adults. I mean, I'd heard about him a lot because he worked with my parents. My dad recorded one of his previous albums, and my mom played gigs with him. So he was like a name that I heard floating around. And on my mom's, one of my mom's records, I did an arrangement for one of Ian's songs. So I guess we had kind of crossed paths very like briefly before, but then, like at the Brazil camp where we spent this whole week at the Guinga's class, it was like we were just kind of learning whatever songs we were doing next to each other and realizing like, oh, this sounds really nice. The trombone and guitar, like just that pairing is cool, and we haven't heard it much before. And then I was just about to release a duo record, guitar and voice, of mine, and he had just put out a record with an amazing singer from Brazil, and so we swapped CDs at the end of the week, and we're just checking out each other's music. And Ian was like, well, I have a couple songs that I think it could be cool to have lyrics in English. Like, would you want to take a stab at that? And I was like, of course. And so we started kind of flying ideas back and forth cross country. And so like we wrote our first two songs that ended up being on our first album together. But that's kind of how it all took off just from there.
Is there like a specific song that whenever you think of, the music you were listening to growing up, is there a specific song that like really was maybe on repeat a lot for you, or was kind of propelled you into, wanting to write?
Yeah. Well, there's so many. But I think one of the things that really got me into writing was actually not a jazz artist, or not a typical jazz artist. I guess I don't really consider her a jazz artist, but Joni Mitchell was like a big influence on me, and her style of lyrics has like a big bearing on like what I try to do. I don't think anyone can come up to where she set the bar, but I try. I mean, I think that songs like Hajira and Coyote, like those maybe have more influence to me as a writer than any of the great jazz composers that I love, because I think it gave me this inspiration to start. I think we all, I think at some point in our lives, like the idea of writing a song becomes daunting, before you've done it once. And I feel like she's the person that got me over that hump to try,
Yeah. Her vocal melodies have always been super like interesting to me. Rhythmically, I think I went to school for music, and I did some of her songs for some juries, and the rhythm on some of her vocal melodies used to stump me. She is a genius for sure.
And I mean, I think it's so conversational. Like she is like the epitome of like storytelling. Yes. And like I remember when I first started hearing some songs, especially from certain like parts of her career that I was less familiar with, it almost felt like she was like interpreting the song like Ella would, like she's like in the moment improvising her rendition. But like it is kind of specific. Like you listen to live recordings and maybe there's like slight phrasing differences, but like those notes are the notes, and so it's like she came up with this really unique way of expressing her stories, and it is almost feels like a conversation, because like if you were to like notate it, you wouldn't, there's not a lot of rhythmic congruity between the phrases. It's so much like each lyrical phrase is precious in its own organism.
No, it really is, and that's a good way to put it. It is very conversational. Like she just flows so well with everything. I can totally understand how she could kind of get you over that hump of trying to start writing, because I can't imagine how daunting that is. But what was the first song you ever learned to play, if you can remember? I know you've been playing for a while. If you can remember, and if you can't, that's okay.
Because it's a funny one. I started playing trombone when I was in 4th grade with my best friend, and my dad is a trombonist, and he was such a great first teacher to both of us. He made it super fun. And I remember the first piece that we did that I can remember that I think we actually probably performed it was he wrote us a little arrangement of Scott Joplin's The Entertainer. It was a super ragtime thing. And then I just remember, side note, not what you asked, but like we were trying to figure out who was going to play like first or second. And I remember just my arms were longer so I could reach the low notes. So I got to play second and my friend played first.
I'm so excited for your show. And I can't wait to meet you in person. And yeah, thank you for sitting down with me today.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for taking the time.
Well, of course.